And we are live. Welcome back to Takes by Fans. We got a great show for you today. As always, we are live every single day at noon Eastern. If you want to watch live, head over to twitch.tv/Takes by Fans. If you want to watch but not live, head over to our YouTube channel, Takes by Fans. We post all of our shows and clips of the show there on a daily basis. And if you just want to listen, we are on podcasting apps, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio. So however you want to watch or listen, we've got you covered in multiple ways. Alrighty, today is a big old Friday, which means we have to update our NBA power rankings, and we are very, very close to the end of the regular season, folks. Next Sunday is the last day. I believe that is the 18th. No, that is the 16th. The 16th is the last day, so we've got this week of power rankings that we may update it next Friday and then update it again on Monday, or we'll just update it today, this Friday, and then the following Monday after the 16th, just depending on how we're feeling. If we do it this Friday, next Friday, the next Friday would just kind of be, all right, there's 2 games left. There's 2 days of games left. Who can kind of, move maybe in that kind of final game. So maybe we'll do something like that. But we'll talk about that when we get to next week. So we've got the updated power rankings today on the show. Going to be a great one, man. A lot of movement. Some teams that absolutely got it done this week, folks, and huge jumps. And some big teams getting knocked out of the top 10. If you followed me on Twitter, you already know one team that is getting kicked out of the top 10. Do we have a second? You will have to watch and see. So we've got that today on the show, breaking down the NBA from last night, doing our moneymaker for tonight's action. Wait, 1-1. Once again, this Nets team, we're trying to buy them, but obviously they don't want to get bought because they're on a 4-game losing streak. So we've got all that today on the show. So let's start here with the stories of the day. In the first one, kind of piggybacking on the story yesterday, talking about the Dolphins releasing Bobby McCain, defensive back, corner safety, and guess who's potentially is going to pick him up? Our new favorite team now, the Washington football team. He's visiting there. Bobby McCain is visiting Washington yesterday. So we'll see. Hopefully he got a signed deal. We haven't heard anything yet, but this is great. I mean, Ron Rivera, new defensive guru. We have 1,000% respect for Ron Rivera, just of what he did last year alone, shoring up that defense, winning the NFC East, absolutely fantastic, and now getting another kind of great defensive veteran presence to help out this Washington team another season. So hopefully he goes here. This would be a great pickup for Washington, for Ron Rivera. We are decent fans of Bobby McCain. It's just, Brian Flores is going kind of mad genius over there with the Dolphins, getting rid of everybody 1 year out, 1 year in, 1 year out, and just speaks to this. Yeah, we got rid of Bobby McCain yesterday, but then we also signed Jason McCourty from the Patriots. The Dolphins do. So once again, just Brian Flores going absolutely manic with his roster. He will cut you. He will sign you. It doesn't matter if you're great and you're proven. You got 1 year. That's it. And then you're gone. So we'll see how long Jason McCourty lasts with the Dolphins. I'm not expecting more than 1 year, but definitely a great defensive back to help out the Dolphins. Another great veteran presence who knows what it takes to win in this league. So hopefully able to play up the rookies a little bit more. But whoever Brian Flores gets as kind of pieces defensively, we're all cool with it because we know Brian Flores is able to elevate people and get the kind of the roster and the scheme that he wants going into the season. So we are still trusting Brian Flores. Just kind of a big day yesterday of getting rid of a kind of, Bobby McCain's been with the Dolphins for a few seasons now. I want to say 3 or 4, his entire career. We drafted that man. And then, we just get rid of him and sign another big name of Jason McCourty. So, once again, we trust Brian Flores here. But I don't know if this is going to work, man. Just new every single year. New pieces, new players, new roles, new schemes. So, we wish him the best, obviously. That's our team. We got to root for him. But we'll see how it plays out. But I definitely would love to see if Bobby McCain goes to Washington, a player that we do like and a team that we do want to see thrive. So, we'll see where he goes. But he did meet with the Washington football team yesterday. Alrighty, some odds are coming out. So these we got these two next stories, odds coming out. So we'll go over this one first. The odds of the Bears Week 1 starting quarterback Andy Dalton is the favorite at minus 167, but Justin Fields is number 2 at plus 160, and then we got Nick Foles third at plus 900. Definitely don't expect that man to play, but this is great for Justin Fields because his odds of only being plus 160, that's pretty good odds that he would be starting week 1, not, starting this season, starting week 1. So we know Andy Dalton's not the guy here. There's no reason why you take a chance with him. He's aging out of this league. He's at the very, very end of his career. I don't know, after this Bears stint, I don't know if he goes anywhere else, honestly. Maybe as a backup for the rest of his career of how many years he has left, but he just showed you nothing with that Cowboys team last season, folks, and we have to take so much stake of what we saw from Andy Dalton last year. I mean, there's just no improvement there, folks. He's been absolutely mediocre his entire career. You're going to get nothing out of Andy Dalton playing. You get zero. He's not going to improve. He's probably not going to digress, maybe a little bit, because he's aging, so maybe the arm is starting to go little bit by little bit, but he's not going to be able to elevate your team, elevate your players. He's not going to get you more than 8-9 wins. He's proved that his entire career. He cannot get over that kind of benchmark of 10 wins, 8 wins, 9 wins, which is just kind of mediocre in this league, obviously, especially with a 17th game schedule now. So this is fantastic. Justin Fields should be the week 1 starter. You've got nothing to lose by playing this man. Matt Nagy has already not been able to figure out the quarterback position for his years here with the Bears being the head coach. Justin Fields kind of fell in their lap, right in the draft. So once again, not really losing anything there. You only have upside here, and we believe that Justin Fields should be decently successful. It's really going to come down to Justin Fields or Zach Wilson. I really think only one of those quarterbacks are really going to have a real good future in this league. So Justin Fields has a real good shot at it, being that guy, being that one of those two quarterbacks. So watch out for Justin Fields to be the starter come week 1. Great odds at plus 160, folks. That's kind of almost very good odds of him starting. It's basically, if you have to put it in like percentage terms, I would probably say like 55%. No, just because, he's plus 160, and then 45% yes, so it is kind of real close there, and, like we said, you just get nothing. You get nothing out of Andy Dalton starts. You don't get anything, folks. You don't get, I can't believe, folks, we were rooting for him. We were rooting for Andy Dalton to succeed. You can go back to our videos. They're there on YouTube. You can go find them. We were rooting for this man to take over, to bring the Cowboys to the promised land, to win the division. He just never did it. No good games, no big throws, nothing of the sort all season. So Justin Fields, watch for him to be the starter in Chicago week 1. Alrighty, and then the other kind of odds here that we could talk about, the odds to win the NFC East, and I don't think I agree with it. So here's how they order it. The Cowboys with the best odds at plus 125. Washington, the second best odds at plus 260. The Giants, the third, was plus 400. And then the Eagles, the last seed, the fourth seed in the NFC East at plus 450. I don't know what's good about this Cowboys team. You've got Dak Prescott coming off of an injury. You've got Zeke Elliott not having a good season when, he was their premier weapon or should have been their premier weapon. Their defense is still a big old question mark. It was absolutely trash last season. I believe they fired their defensive coordinator, brought in some talent through the draft and free agency to shore up the defense a little bit. But then you still got the biggest question mark of all, Mike McCarthy. You're telling me that he's better than Ron Rivera, and he might be better than this Giants head coach just because he's only been a head coach for 1 season. But telling me that Mike McCarthy and this Cowboys football team should be number 1 here in the NFC, I don't believe it. Did you just see what the Giants did? They have a stacked offensive roster now. They're getting Saquon Barkley back. They improved their line. They improved their defense. They have literally improved every single facet of their team so far. And they're third? You're ranking them third over the Cowboys, who floundered big time last season, that did not install a winning culture, That's what happened last year with the Washington football team. They won 7 games, won the NFC East, and built the winning culture. So an even better year is expected this year. The Giants kind of did the same thing. Year 1 head coach, new head coach, without Saquon Barkley, their biggest weapon, having to rely on Daniel Jones. New offensive coordinator comes in, and they still kind of made it work. I mean, what did they win? 6-7 games last season, started to kind of implement that winning culture, got all the weapons for Daniel Jones to be successful. So I don't know if I would rank it like this. I think we have to say that Washington is still number 1. Their defense is going to get it done. Plus, you have Taylor Heineke getting kind of competed against with Ryan Fitzpatrick, so, Taylor Heineke needs to elevate his play even more. He's going to have a full offseason and training camp, so I think I would put Washington 1, Giants 2, then the Eagles 3, and then the Cowboys 4, honestly. I don't understand why there's so much hype around this Cowboys team. Their team is still so much dysfunctional, folks. There's so much dysfunction over there. We don't know if Dak's going to return to his form. We're hoping so and assuming so, but it's an ankle injury, and you've got to kind of walk around. It's a lower leg injury, and you have to run around and throw off your back foot, sometimes throw off that foot that you just had to have reconstructive surgery on. So I don't understand the hype around the Cowboys, especially giving them plus 125 and then kind of disrespecting the Giants at plus 400. I mean, folks, their offense is stacked. Kenny Galladay, Evan Ingram, they just drafted a wide receiver. They got Saquon Barkley back. Daniel Jones has just kind of developed his dual threat game last year of running for 400 to 600 yards last season. And on top of that, you just saw the big stride that Josh Allen took from year 2 to year 3. And guess who's coming into year 3, folks? Danny Mother Lovin' Dime. So we're big on the Giants here. We're big on Washington, and we are not big on the Cowboys. But we'll see how it all plays out. We'll see if any teams kind of get a little bit better through, this offseason that's coming up, that's starting to progress with training camps and OTAs and all of that. But I can't see how the Cowboys are the favorite to win the NFC East. All these other teams have great talent now. It's not just the Cowboys that have 2 good wide receivers. They've got a quarterback coming off of injury where Heineke, Jalen Hurts, Daniel Jones all played last season. Their running game, Zeke Elliott. I mean, I'm taking any other running back in the NFC right now. I don't even know who's Washington's running back. Antonio Gibson. Do they still got him? I'm taking him over Zeke Elliott. I don't care. I'm definitely taking Saquon Barkley over Zeke Elliott. But and then all these coaches. The only coach in the NFC that is not better than Mike McCarthy is Nick Sirianni, and that man's gonna be trash. So, congrats, Mike McCarthy. You're no longer the worst coach in the NFC East, because last season I would have said yes. I would have taken that Giants head coach. I would have taken Doug Peterson. I'm definitely taking Ron Rivera. What are you, nuts? Ron Rivera's the best coach in the NFC East, hands down. So I'm not buying the hype around this Cowboys team, folks. There are still big dysfunctions and big old question marks surrounding this team. It's not all hunky-dory now that Dak's back. Alrighty, we get a little bit more information here on Aaron Rodgers saga. Don't want to spend too much time on this. We've spent enough time on it already, but we get another kind of teammate quote here, so let's see what he's saying. So, James Jones says Aaron Rodgers Packers saga is, quote, fixable. And he's got this quote right here. Quote, it has nothing to do about getting the general manager fired. It has nothing to do about getting a new contract and getting money. Alrighty, so it's not anything to do with that. So let's go into the article here. So what is it about? What is it about here that is going to be fixable for this Aaron Rodgers Packers saga that's been going on? So, all right, Aaron Jones, quote, I speak with Aaron all the time. I talk to him a lot, and it has nothing to do about getting the general manager fired. It has nothing to do about getting a new contract and getting money. Everything that Aaron Rodgers has done since he's been a Green Bay Packer, this is not him. He's not a guy that's going to go out there and leak all this stuff and say he wants out of here, wants out of there, and be giving all this stuff to the media. That's never been him. So whoever leaked this, or whoever's coming out and saying that as a friend of Aaron Rodgers, I can say that it's not him. It's never been him to do anything like that. So when the organization side of it comes into place, and you talk about him and the general manager and the head coach working together, I think it's fixable. I think they'll be able to get the stuff done, but I think that's what it's about. So Once again, we get a potential, this entire timing of the Aaron Rodgers news breaking out was always a little suspect to us, coming out on draft day. Real bizarre. That was like the only story to talk about. So we don't even know who's leaking all these things. And that is a good point that Aaron Jones brings up. Aaron Rodgers has never been the one to kind of leak information. He'll take subtle jabs at you in the media. We've seen that time and time again, but he's not a leaker. He's one thing, and he's everything but one thing. He's definitely not a leaker out here. But we do know he does have the subtle digs. So I don't know, man. Is it salvageable? According to Aaron Jones, it is. I don't see the Packers getting rid of him. I mean, it's going to be so tough to get rid of a franchise face of the franchise quarterback, especially as talented as Aaron Rodgers is. So we'll see what happens. Obviously, we've heard that the Packers are adamant on not getting rid of him, basically saying there's 0% chance. We haven't really heard anything from Aaron Rodgers. The only thing we've heard from Aaron Rodgers is other teammates' quotes on him and leaked messages, leaked information that is coming out that we don't know who is sending this. So we know that, organizations may try to hinder some of their players if it benefits them. Maybe, potentially, we still have this Deshaun Watson stuff that we don't know if it's real or fake. We're still kind of on the side that it is real because all those women are still suing them. But I don't know, man. Who knows what's going on with this Aaron Rodgers? Who knows what's real? Who knows what's fake? We've been trying to kind of comb through the information and, cipher out the false information, but so far, this is where we're at. The Packers playing all supporting Aaron Rodgers. Nobody has really came out and said they don't want to play with Aaron Rodgers. Nobody says that they want to get rid of Aaron Rodgers. So we got to take it that Aaron Rodgers is going to be the Packers quarterback, and we'll see how long. But that's where we're at right now. We got James Jones saying that Aaron Rodgers and the Packers are, quote, fixable. They can get it done. So that's where we'll leave it today, I guess, and hopefully for a while, because I'm truly sick of talking about Aaron Rodgers, folks. He's not a winner, so why is he on my show? I don't know. Alrighty, let's move on to this story. Tyler Lockett of the Seahawks, wide receiver, says that speedy rookie Dwayne Eskridge, wide receiver, fits in perfectly with the other Seahawks wide receivers, and this could be a little deadly, folks. We know Russell Wilson's an absolute great passer. We know he's got great wide receivers. We saw the emergence of DK Metcalf this season, the size, the speed, the strength, everything. And then we got Tyler Lockett, a surefire catcher. Yes, he's not the tallest. Yes, he's not the fastest, but he is one of the most skillful wide receivers to go up and play the ball. Always sure hands. His catch percentage is like 75%, folks. It's absolutely great. I think he hit like 80% in his career as well. So you can never have too much talent as at the wide receiver position, and that was kind of just proved to us last season with the Bucs. I mean, Antonio Brown, obviously, Scotty Miller, Chris Godwin, and then Mike Evans. I mean, that wasn't even the best. They had 4 great catchers of the ball, and that's not including those tight ends, Cameron Brate, Rob Gronkowski. So, folks, we're talking about more than 5 great, skillful pass catchers, whether they're wide receivers or tight ends, and now they're kind of building that a little bit here with the Seahawks, bringing in another wide receiver, and I believe they chose him in the second round. I think this is their second round pickup. So another weapon for Russell Wilson, a nice kind of another speed player. So you've got the deep ball ability of DK Metcalf that can outrun and just kind of win 50-50 balls. You've got kind of the same with Tyler Lockett. Yes, he's not as tall. Tyler Lockett's only like 5'10", 5'11", but he will go up and get the ball. Like we said, surefire hands all the time. And now you got another speedy wide receiver here. How tall is Dwayne Eskridge? Let's get this up. Is he fast? Is he tall and fast, or is he just fast? Let's see. Yeah, he's 5'9", so another kind of gadget, speedy guy in there. But hey, if the Tampa Bay Bucks used all their wide receivers, we saw them using Mike Evans in the red zone, and then we kind of saw, them using Chris Godwin in the playoffs, and then we saw Scotty Miller able to get the ball. Remember on that kind of against the Packers at the end of the first half, getting wide open, easy peasy. So if you have all these kind of dangerous, take the top off the top of the defense, if you have all that on your team, somebody's going to get open. Yes, you might not be able to go to your number 1 or number 2 target or maybe number 3 target every single play, but that fourth dangerous pass catcher, whether it's the tight end, whether it's another wide receiver, they're open and they're going to be deadly and they're going to be dangerous and they're going to be kind of on not your top safety, your top corner, your second top safety, your second top corner, because this is the 4th string, 5th kind of wide receiver, pass catcher, number 5 on your roster, but they're making plays out there. So that's what the Bucs did last season, and we'll see if the Seahawks are able to kind of incorporate Dwayne Eskridge, another great pass catcher out here. Tyler Lockett says he's fitting in perfectly there with the wide receivers, so we'll see how that kind of main core of those big three are going. We know the Seahawks offense stuttered at the end of last season. They brought in a new offensive coordinator, and now he's got 3 great weapons to work with. So another kind of rookie to keep our eyes on, Dwayne Eskridge, wide receiver for the Seahawks. Alrighty, and then here we go, and are we going to get proven right by a Hall of Fame NFL player? Let's see. So here we go. Jerome Bettis. We all know the bus, a big old great Steeler legend, running back. And now he's got stuff to say on Najee Harris, folks. So here we go. Jerome Bettis on Najee Harris pick. Quote, "These running backs are not a dime a dozen." And folks, that's what we've been saying on our big board through our draft when we were looking at a rookie prospect every single day. This is how we rank the running backs. Najee Harris 1. Travis Etienne 2, and then we've been saying it the entire time, there is a big drop-off in talent between Najee Harris, Travis Etienne, and Javonte Williams and Michael Carter. Michael Carter went in like the 4th round, folks. Don't even say nothing to me that this man's going to be able to be a premier back in this league. I'm not buying it. So back to Najee Harris here. He's an absolute stud. We shaved half of our beard because we wanted the Dolphins to go take Najee Harris at number 18. There is no overreaching when you're looking at these running backs, folks. And Jerome Bettis is going to get into this article right here. So let's go to some of his quotes. Former Steelers Hall of Famer Jerome Bettis thoughts snagging Harris was a stroke of genius. We get the quote here by Jerome Bettis. Quote, "I thought it was a great pick. I thought it showed their commitment to getting back to running the football. In order to definitively run the football, you have to have a hammer, and they went out and got a hammer, and now they're able to philosophically do some of the things they weren't able to do, and that's what we said, folks. We predicted this pick. We knew the Steelers were going to take Najee Harris there at the 24th pick. They needed the running game. That's all they don't have. They've got the good defense. They've got the wide receivers. They've got the quarterback. They just needed that running back. They got rid of James Conner, another huge hint that they were going to take a running back in this league, and they got the best one that we believe, and also Jerome Bettis believes, they got the best one in the draft. This man is 6'2", folks. He is a big running back the size of Derrick Henry. Now, the only thing left to know is that he's got the comparison of Derrick Henry and just kind of the size. But is he going to be able to play like Derrick Henry in the NFL? That is the only thing left to be kind of decided here on Najee Harris, and he's got a couple of years to kind of prove it, but we're not worried about him proving that. Alrighty, what else does he say here? The argument against drafting running backs early is usually buffered by the belief that clubs can unearth productive backs in later rounds. Bettis finds that mode of thinking reckless, and we've been saying that as well. Go and get the best player, folks. This narrative, this notion that you can't draft a running back in the 1st round, that you don't pay your running backs, folks. Look at what the Titans are doing with Derrick Henry. They're always in the playoffs. They got to the AFC Championship because of Derrick Henry alone. I love Ryan Tannehill, yes I do, but to say that he had any real impact on that playoff run, it's nonsense, folks. It's nonsense. It was all Derrick Henry. That's why they lost in the AFC Championship game, because they couldn't run the ball because they got down a little bit. So they had to go and throw the ball. Ryan Tannehill couldn't do that. That's why we've been seeing this kind of slow transition coming to fruition this season with the Titans, that they're focusing on their defense and their running game. They're done with Ryan Tannehill kind of being a little bit of a more game manager. They're taking back some of his role and giving it to the defense in the running game. And that's how they're going to win the season. So Jerome Bettis doesn't think that you can, doesn't like the notion that, you don't draft a running back in the first round. So let's read his quote right here. These running backs are not a dime a dozen. People are inclined to think, you can find one in the later rounds. You can't find a good one. And that's exactly it. Yes, you may be able to get Michael Carter. Congratulations. I forgot who just picked him up. It was like third or fourth round late. But it's like, congratulations, you got an average running back. That's why you have to go out and get the good ones in the first round. There's only one or two. Running backs are not kind of like quarterbacks that there's a good amount, or wide receivers that there's a good amount of great ones. Running backs, there are a little bit more scarce out there, so you have to go. There's only about one or two good ones, elite ones every single year, and that's why you have to go take them in the first round. That's why you had to take Najee Harris early. That's why the Jags took Travis Etienne right after the Steelers took Najee Harris, because Urban Meyer knows, the Jaguars know, hey, there's only two good running backs in this draft class, and we want to go and get one definitely. One just came off the board. We can't let this opportunity pass us. Go and get Travis Etienne. You've got Najee Harris, the big, strong running back, and you got Travis Etienne, the big speedster. So you've got two great running backs in this draft class. Everybody else is just a mix of these two, and they're just just mediocre, nothing great. We were watching their film, folks. Michael Carter, Javonte Williams from UNC. It was nothing great. No wild plays. We were just like, yeah, this is fine. They were getting some nice yardage every play, but it was nothing spectacular. It was nothing that made our jaw drop to the floor. When we saw Travis Etienne, we saw him be able to kind of run up the middle, defense converging on him, corners coming over the top, and nobody was able to get to him in time. And then we saw Najee Harris in the national championship game, an underthrown ball by Mac Jones, a trash quarterback. Come on, that's why he fell so much. Thankfully, he fell that much. An underthrown ball thrown by Mac Jones, and Najee Harris has to kind of turn and flip his hips back to the ball, one-handed catch, and then he's able to finish off that catch with a 15-yard run for the touchdown. There's nobody else in the draft class, in this year's draft class, that was able to do what Travis Etienne and Najee Harris did this entire season, so I don't want to hear it. Jerome Bettis is backing us up here. Fantastic. I mean, hey, if I'm going to be right with somebody, I'm going to take one of the best running backs of all time in Jerome Bettis. So once again, another validation here of Takes by Fans. Another reason why are we not more popular? I don't know. Why are we not on the Volume Sports Network? I don't know. Alrighty, let's finish up this quote here. You can't find a good one. What you find in the later rounds are small running backs. The big backs weren't there late. Folks, there's not even that many big running backs. Derrick Henry's number 1 at 6'3". Najee Harris is going to be number 2 at 6'2", and he's a rookie. Number 3 is like Delvin Cook, and I think he might be 6'1" or 6 foot. I think he might be 6 foot even. And then everybody else is just below 6 feet, 5'11", 5'10", 5'9", and that's good, but they're small running backs. They're going to be getting taken down to the ground. They're not going to be able to break all of these tackles consistently or against the best defensive players like we predict Najee Harris is going to be able to do. So, alrighty, the big backs weren't there late. You know why? Because there weren't any. When you find one, you've got to get him quick. Yes, sir, absolutely. So, Jerome Bettis backs up, them taking a running back in the first round in the 24th pick. We knew that that's what they were going to do, folks. We still have the prediction up here. Or actually, the prediction's going to be a little off, but we'll tell you why in a second. Where's our prediction? Do we still have it up? Yeah, it's right here. Alrighty. So we had, the Dolphins taking him at number 18, so that's why he wasn't there at number 24, but we still had the Steelers taking Travis Etienne, who we thought was still going to be available. If they were both available, Najee Harris would have been that first pick off the board because we already had him the first pick, the first running back off the board. So just unfortunate that we thought the Dolphins, that's how much we love Najee Harris. That's how much you can kind of, reach. We don't like to say, reaching in the first round for a running back, but, the mainstream narrative is reaching in the first round for a running back. So it's just fantastic out here. We're big. I want to see him succeed absolutely on the Steelers. I think he definitely can. Big, strong running back. Short up their line a little bit. They just brought in the tackle as well. So the Steelers, man. Jerome Bettis loves to pick. We love to pick, and hopefully he just pans out like we think he is going to, and we believe he's going to. So we've got no problem with that. Alrighty, let's keep moving on here. Josh Allen, man, oh man, we talk about his jump from year 2 to year 3, and it's just, folks, I mean, we talk about it so much because it's that surprising and it's that kind of great, that leap. It's not even a leap, folks. It's a giant, I don't know, it's one small leap for man, one small leap for mankind. No. Josh Allen is taking, I don't even know, what's bigger than a leap? Jump? But I think in wording, jump then leap. Leap then jump, but jump doesn't do it justice either. I don't even know. It's a giant running start that he cleared 1,000-foot gap. I don't know. Is that still a leap? Is that still considered a jump? I don't know, but whatever that is, that's what Josh Allen did last year. So we got a nice quick little 30-second clip of him just being accurate as heck, folks. We saw the 69% completion percentage in most of these throws are why he was pinpoint accurate. So let's watch this kind of 30-second tape right here and just watch this man put this man on the money. Look at this one, 25 yards to the back of the end zone. Look at how close, got it right over the fingertips of that linebacker, and then right there before the defenders were able to converge on it between two defenders, and it's right there for the catch against the Broncos this time, right there, right before, to Cole Beasley, right before the defender's fingers could touch the ball. Here he is against the Colts, going deep. There it is, laying it over that line of defense. This was in the playoff game. The throw to Stephon Diggs, absolutely fantastic. Perfect accuracy. Here we go against the Dolphins. Play action pass, going deep. Look at that accuracy. Oh my God, look at the zip on the ball, and then look at this mother freaking accuracy. We got to go back to this one right here, right before that safety could come over, and it's just absolutely fantastic, folks. So Bills, I mean, how can you not be excited going into the season? You just got to the AFC Championship game. Unfortunately, couldn't pull it off against the Chiefs, but man, oh man, this quarterback, man, you've got the face of the franchise. Hopefully he doesn't take a step back, because all this accuracy, man, is absolutely fantastic. Oh my gosh. Now, this is the season. Was this a fluke year for Josh Allen, or is this what Josh Allen is? Were all these kind of very close, 100% accurate throws just based off of luck? Maybe, he didn't see that second defender coming. Maybe, he didn't mean to put, the ball where it was. Maybe, he just kind of lucked out. But we'll know this season if he goes, 65, 66, 67, 68%, back to 69% completion percentage, then it's not a fluke season. But if he goes back to, 59, 58, where he was his first years, then we're like, all right, this was a fluke year. But I don't think it's going to be a fluke year. I think he's only going to get better and better and better. And if you can get better than what he did last season, holy moly, watch out. Every other team should be on notice here in the NFL. Alrighty, we might not watch all of this, but let's watch some of this. It is Alex Smith's birthday today, his first birthday in retirement. But he had a good and bad end to his career. Good end of his career, he came back from the injury, got to the playoffs, led his team to a couple of wins. I think like 4-1 in his 5 games starting. So fantastic there. Led his team to some wins. Didn't end the year as the starter, but got some nice quality wins coming back from the injury. So that was the good end of his career. The bad end of his career is that, he had like 4 touchdowns and 6 interceptions, never the big throws, never any of the big plays, and that's kind of how he went out. Just kind of mediocre, less than productive, less than real production in this league in his last kind of 5 games playing. So let's take a moment, go back on Alex Smith's highlight tape here. Don't think we're going to watch all 5 minutes, but let's get a sense of what Alex Smith was doing out here. Let's celebrate him a little bit, because we've been a little tough on him on this show. Unfortunate just because of the injury, and we need to see you winning out here. Yes, what he did, in his career was good, and he was very solid as a quarterback. So let's kind of focus on that here. So let's watch what Alex Smith was kind of doing in his prime before the injury. Here he goes, running around in the red zone, finding the wide open receiver. Bingo, bango for the 49ers. Yes, sir. Touchdown, Alex Smith flinging that thing. Yes, sir. Alrighty, next play up here. Let's go. I don't need to see Alex Smith hugging his teammates forever. First career touchdown pass on 150 passing attempts. Yo, I don't think that's good. That doesn't sound good, does it? 150 passes before your first career touchdown pass. Alrighty, that's how we got started in the Alex Smith saga. Just kind of took off from there. The first touchdown. All right, let's go a little bit better here. This one kind of wide open. But, nice escape of the pocket. All righty, what's this next play up here? Dropping back against the Rams. Big old fire down the field, and look at that arm. Safety tries to undercut this ball, but Alex Smith is like, what are you testing my arm? What are you nuts? Let's try to count the yards on this one. I don't know if we're going to be able to see any good yard markers. Let's see. How was Alex Smith's arm in his prime? Was he slinging it 55, 60 yards? He's going to throw this one from the 20-yard line. Big old wind-up of a throw. I can't even see where he got down to. Damn it. Maybe like down to the other 25? 20 to the 25, so 30 plus 25. 55 yards, 50 yards, clean. Here he go. Oh, my God, look at him. Able to kind of take the big hit and stay on his feet, and then delivers an absolutely great ball. A little high, but hey, you got to get it off, and it's in the man's catch radius. Look at this man. Yes, sir. Alex Smith, big body, never going down easy. Took a big shot there to the chest, able to eat it, able to stay on his feet, and then deliver a great ball on the run. Look at that accuracy, the focus, the precision. Yes, Alex Smith. Here we go, play action this time, and here he goes, wide open, 20 yards, nobody there, everybody biting on the run, and the speed of Alex Smith before the ankle injury, before the leg injury that ruined his speed. This is what he was doing here. Look at the speed right here. What do we clock this in at? Half celebration, half full sprint. Baker Mayfield-esque, I would say. Kind of looking like Baker Mayfield out of that spin a little bit. Let's watch it one more time. Look at him. He knew it right from the 20, celebrating the cockiness of Alex Smith when he's in his prime, being good. They were already up 17-7. Now they're up 24-7 here against the Seahawks. Oh, yeah, I love that. The cockiness of Alex Smith. Maybe if you did that a little bit more in Washington, we would have liked him a little bit more. Here he is, running again. Oh, running again. The OG dual threat quarterback, Alex Smith. Yes, sir. Forget Lamar Jackson. Forget Patrick Mahomes. Forget even Russell Wilson. Yes, sir. I'm taking Alex Smith as the best dual threat quarterback of all time out here. Yes, sir. Get it done. Wow. This man had some speed on him. Then he's back in the red zone. Ooh, what a freaking snipe in there. 20 yards front of the end zone, going to your big body tight end. Let's watch this one more time from the back angle. Look at how he's able to squeeze that ball in there right on the money, right in time. The bullet pass, the dual threat ability. Alex Smith. We'll take one more play here. We'll do the next play and then we'll end it. Come on, Alex Smith. End us on a high note in the red zone with the Chiefs. Yes, sir. Read option, speed option, if you will. Right on the front of the goal line, but he puts his head down, gets those 2 yards, gets the touchdown, says, hang on. Y'all didn't see those other highlights of me running it, taking the big hit? I do this. Yeah, I'm coming back from the leg injury. I don't care. Or this was before the leg injury. All right, let's end it on this one. Going deep, throwing it from the 30-yard line, getting it all the way down, going to Tyreek Hill. He was able to keep up with Tyreek Hill's speed. Yes, sir. Let's count the yards one more time, throwing it from the 30. 20 yards to the 50, another 25 yards, give it 45 yards there. Clean to Tyreek Hill. All right, at least he was able to throw to Tyreek Hill in his career. I mean, if you're a quarterback, I don't know if there's another kind of wide receiver I would love to throw to more than Tyreek Hill. I can throw those 50-50 balls, put enough air on it for you to run underneath it to catch it and get the touchdown. So Alex Smith, a great career. Definitely solid quarterback in this league. And unfortunate that it had to come to the end that it did. But once again, a little bit of a silver lining to the end of his career, like we mentioned. So that's Alex Smith, folks. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Alrighty, let's go over to some NBA stories. Kelly Oubre Jr. is expected to miss 1 to 2 weeks, so a little unfortunate here for the Warriors. Well, also a little fortunate. We haven't really seen that much of a difference when he's inside the starting lineup or coming off the bench or not playing at all. They still kind of have, a decent winning percentage without him. But definitely, an offensive scorer for them. That's why we love him coming off of the bench. The bench needs more scores. The starters has pretty nice scores. Obviously, they got Steph Curry that can, shoot the lights out of the gym whenever he wants. Andrew Wiggins, who can give us 15-plus points every single night. But Warriors are currently number 8 seed here in the Western Conference. 3.5 games above the Pelicans at that 11 seed. So we know there's about 6 or 7 games left for every single team here. Kelly Oubre Jr. missing 1 to 2 weeks, most likely being out for the rest of the regular season. So hopefully they don't need him too much here to kind of close out their playoff spot. But once they get into that playing tournament, once they get into that first round, they are going to need some firepower coming off the bench. And that's where Kelly Oubre Jr. needs to come back. So hopefully he can kind of take these 1 to 2 weeks, not miss too much. Warriors kind of stay the course. And then when he's back, come right off that bench, give us that kind of 15 to 20 points every single night. And that's what we'll be rocking with this Warriors team for the rest of the season. But he's not going to be there for the closeout of the regular season. The final playoff push, the final play-in tournament push. Unfortunate. All right, but now some good news here. James Harden said, quote, he is very confident he will return before the end of the season. He's missed the last 15 games with a hamstring injury. And folks, this just kind of speaks the volume of how great James Harden was on this Nets team. This Nets team has floundered against the best teams when it's just Kyrie Irving or Kevin Durant or just one of those two. When it's just, James Harden and Kyrie Irving, James Harden was getting it done. They were winning games. When it was just James Harden and Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant were out, they were still winning games, getting other players involved. And ever since he's been out, this Nets team has not been anything close to what James Harden Nets team was earlier this season before the injury. Folks, we were talking about this man as the MVP, folks. The MVP. He was averaging double-digit assists. Absolutely fantastic. So they definitely need James Harden back. Hopefully he kind of puts them over the edge. They still have a problem with down low beef. We just saw the Bucks absolutely destroy them back-to-back games, and I don't think if James Harden was on the floor, I'm not sure how much the outcomes of those games would have changed. Yes, you have another outside scorer in James Harden, but who is going to contain Giannis? You would have to outshoot them, outscore them to win. Yes, you may be able to do that with James Harden and Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. You've got the 3 big ones, but still, you've got, lackluster down low. DeAndre Jordan, Blake Griffin. They couldn't get it done with the Clippers in their prime. Now they're out of their prime. You think they're going to get it done now against the Nets with even bigger bigs? When, they were big with the Clippers, they didn't have Jokic and Embiid and Anthony Davis in the league, all 3 together. Now they're going to have to run the gauntlet with just Anthony Davis and Blake Griffin, and it's not going to be good. LaMarcus Aldridge no longer there because he's, I think he retired, right? Because, of his health. So James Harden here should be back here before the regular season. Definitely need it. Try to get back to that number 1 seed. They just lost it again, or now it's even a bigger loss here. They're 2.5 games out from that number 1 seed of the 76ers. So James Harden desperately needs to be back here for the Nets. And let's go into this as well. Another reason, we've been, if you're on, social media, Twitter, you've been seeing Nick Wright's opinion on the MVP get kind of just, torn to shreds a little bit. Everybody's, kind of knocking him. But we will be knocking him, but not for every single reason everybody else has been giving. So he's saying that Jokic basically can't be the MVP, and if he is the MVP, he will be kind of the worst MVP in the last 40 years statistically. So he says, but he says that Chris Paul should be the MVP, and I don't see that at all. I gotta put Jokic as the clear-cut number 1. He's getting it done. His stats are good. He's winning games without Jamal Murray still. That's another huge reason why Jokic has to be the surefire MVP. Embiid has missed too many games. Obviously, James Harden has missed way too many games, so you can't give it to them. But to have Chris Paul as, the number 1 MVP, what? His stats are not even that great, folks. I understand that he's, saying that Chris Paul should be MVP because he's taking this team and winning now, but 16 points, 4 rebounds, 8 assists. Folks, James Harden was averaging double-digit assists, so I can't even look at Chris Paul as the MVP because James Harden at the point guard position, same position that Chris Paul's in, was leaps and bounds better. 25 points a game, 8 rebounds, while still getting basically 11 assists. It did drop a little bit, but he was averaging 11 assists at one point in the season. But 25, 8, and 11 James Harden was averaging. He was getting done the points and the assists while facilitating the floor. And I don't want to hear, he had absolutely shooters on his team, Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving. Kevin Durant only played like 10 games with James Harden. Kyrie Irving played a little bit more, but James Harden also was getting it done when it was just him on the floor. James Harden's game never changed if he had superstars and, greatest of all times on his teams, or if he was just going with Bruce Brown and Joe Harris, still getting it done with the 11 assists. So I can't give Chris Paul the MVP because James Harden was just so much better than what Chris Paul was doing. And the fact that, another argument of Nick Wright here is that, last season, the Suns weren't that good, but they won every single game in the bubble. So what are we talking about? At the end, Devin Booker was getting it done. Devin Booker was elevating his game. So we can understand that Chris Paul last season elevated the Thunder 1,000%. Chris Paul was the only great player on that Thunder team. I know Shai Gilgeous-Alexander was starting to emerge. Luguentz Dort, has never been great. He's been all right. He's never done anything great. Even this season, by his lonesome, he can't get it done. But to say that Chris Paul had so much impact here for this Suns team just based off of last season, I think it's a little, I don't think we can kind of reach that far for MVP, especially with those lackluster stats compared to what James Harden was doing this season. I cannot see Chris Paul as the MVP. I think it has to be Jokic, folks. He's still winning games. He's putting up. Well, let's just go through all the contenders here. It can't be Chris Paul because he's only averaging 8 assists. When James Harden was in the starting lineup, he was averaging double-digit assists while also getting 8 rebounds and 25 points. It's absolutely fantastic what he was doing out there on the floor. So I can't give it to Chris Paul because James Harden was better. Can't give it to James Harden because he's missed too many games. Jokic is averaging 26 points, 10 rebounds, 8 assists, 26, 10, and 8, folks, while still having no Jamal Murray, while still just getting it done. And did we mention they're winning games still? That's another huge reason why Jokic should be the MVP. They've got 44 wins, 4th in the Eastern Conference. They've got more wins than the Nets do, than the Bucks do, and it's just Jokic. Yes, Michael Porter Jr. is very good, but they lost Jamal Murray, and they're still winning games, folks. They are 8-2 in their last 10, and I wanted to say Jamal Murray has missed at least 10 games, maybe even more. So, the 8-2 just in their last 10 is super impressive, folks. Jokic is still getting it done. He's being the main scorer. He's being the main facilitator. He's being the main rebounder on his team in the 4th seed in the Western Conference. The West is way easier than the East. He's got a better record than basically everybody in the Eastern Conference besides the 76ers, and the 76ers only have a 1-game advantage over what Jokic and the Nuggets are doing. So yes, Jokic is the MVP. Luka Doncic, we may be able to kind of talk about him because he's averaging 28 points, 8 rebounds, 8 assists, but still, once again, those not double-digit assists, so I can't really give it to a point guard because of what James Harden set the bar at. And I know it was only for the first half of the season. I think he got injured after the All-Star break. James Harden went down. So, who knows how he would have finished out the season. But of what we saw, how many games did James Harden play this season? 42, half the season basically. There's only 72 games, so he missed 30 games. Truly unfortunate. Truly unfortunate, but more than half the season, he was still averaging double-digit assists. So just that trajectory, he would have still been averaging the double-digit assists, in my opinion. So I can't really give it to Luka. I would put Luka kind of at number 2 because he's still getting it done without Porzingis. He's being the scorer. He's being the facilitator. And the Mavericks, they're number 5 here in the Western Conference, so we really do have to respect Luka Doncic a lot more. I've got to give it to Luka Doncic over Chris Paul. Chris Paul doesn't need to be the main scorer. Devin Booker's really the main scorer, and when Devin Booker, still puts up 30 points, in some of these losses here, Chris Paul is a no-show. It's not like Chris Paul steps it up every single night when, Devin Booker can't be the number 2 to Devin Booker's number 1, and that's why they lose games, because nobody else can score the ball besides Devin Booker. So for those reasons, I can't give it to Chris Paul. I give it to Jokic, and then I give it to Luka Doncic. We can talk about Embiid. He's putting up 29 points, 10 rebounds, but only 3 assists. What the hell is that? He's not even facilitating the floor. Jokic is facilitating the floor with 8 assists. Luka's facilitating the floor and getting it done like Jokic. So if we have to rank our MVPs with, 6 games left to go, I give it to Jokic number 1 because his stats are great. Double digit, averaging a double-double with 8 assists. Fantastic. He's winning games. He's number 4th in the Western Conference. He loses his starting point guard, but it doesn't matter. They've lost 2 games without Jamal Murray, folks. Come on. You're telling me if Devin Booker went down that Chris Paul would be able to kind of carry this team by himself to only 2 losses without him? I don't know if he would be able to do that himself, folks. He's only averaging 16 points a game. You know what I mean? So I can't get behind Nick Wright here. I cannot see Chris Paul as the MVP. Yes, he's great, and yes, he's definitely helping this team, but to call him the MVP when he's got Devin Booker to do all the scoring, I can't really get behind that. But Jokic, getting it done, I think he's the MVP, clear-cut, front-runner, clear-cut. Alrighty, those were all the stories that we needed to get into today. So let's head over to the NBA. We'll break down the games from last night, do our moneymaker for tonight's action, and then get into our updated power rankings. New number 1 team? No, but maybe new number 2. Yes, new number 2. New number top 3, actually, besides number 1. And then we have 2 new teams entering the top 10 as well. So we'll get to that. But let's start here in the NBA from last night. Absolutely 2 huge games on last night. We talked about them yesterday. The Bulls and Hornets and the Wizards and the Raptors. And now we've got winners in those games. So let's talk about this Bulls game first. Bulls, Hornets. Bulls get the win. 120-99, a 21-point win. Fantastic here for the Bulls. Zach LaVine is back and they get the win. So huge win here for the Bulls. Now, since the Raptors lost, now the Bulls are back to that 11 seed, 2.5 games back from that number 10 seed. So great job for the Bulls here. This was a must-win game for the Bulls here. If they lost, it would have been game over. It would have been over. They wouldn't have happened. They would have still been mathematically possible to get that 10 seed. But then you're 3.5 games back. Nothing really to do with 6-7 games remaining. Not going to get it done. So well done for the Bulls here. Kobe White, 14 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists, 4 rebounds. Zach LaVine, 13 points, shot 3 of 8 from his first game back, 3 rebounds, 2 assists. Vucevic, 29 points, 14 rebounds, took over. Daniel Tice still at the 4, 12 points, 7 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, 2 blocks. Fantastic. Thaddeus Young off the bench, 7 points, 8 assists, 6 rebounds, a plus 12 on the floor. Well done. He shot 37%, but I'll take those 8 assists, 6 rebounds, plus 12 on the floor. Thaddeus Young, potential for 6 man, still trying to hang around a little bit. So well done to this. Well, also, let's shout out these players. Garrett Temple off the bench, 12 points, and Lauri Markkanen off the bench, 10 points, 7 rebounds. So a huge win here for the Bulls. Able to kind of, still be alive in that play-in tournament discussion. We'll talk about this Hornets team real quick, and then we'll get back to the Bulls being in great playoff shape. But LaMelo Ball, 4 points, 9 rebounds on 1 of 10 from the field. Absolutely could not get it done last night. Terry Rozier, only 12 points on 31% shooting on 16 shots. So that was kind of the reason why they lost. Those guards couldn't put up the points. We get P.J. Washington back at the 4, 24.6 rebounds, but just nobody else able to get it done, folks. Off the bench, we get Cody Zeller, 11 points, 5 rebounds, and Malik Monk putting up 20 points, 7 assists, and 4 rebounds off the bench. Fantastic. But Terry Rozier, LaMelo Ball could not score the ball, and a huge reason why they lost the game last night. So let's get back to this Bulls team now. Because the Raptors lost, they have a half a game advantage above the Raptors for the 11th seed. So it didn't really matter too much on who won the game last night between the Wizards and the Raptors. The Bulls need both of these teams to start losing. But when we look at just kind of their remaining schedule for the Raptors and the Wizards on kind of who has the tougher schedule. So, whoever has the easier schedule should have lost last night for the Bulls, just to make it easier on them, because they do have to overcome the Wizards and the Raptors. But the Raptors' remaining schedule, the Grizzlies, the Clippers, the Bulls, the Mavericks, the Pacers, that's a huge, tough 5 games. So it would have been a little bit better for the Raptors to win last night over the Wizards, just because the Wizards have an easier schedule. They've got the Pacers, the Hawks twice, but then the Cavs and the Hornets. So those Hawks games are going to be tough, but the Pacers, Cleveland, Cavs, and the Hornets, those are some easy games there. So Bulls probably would have liked the Wizards to win last night, but unfortunately they didn't. Or unfortunately they did. The Bulls probably would have wanted the Wizards to lose last night. Unfortunately they did. So well done for the Bulls. Their back's against the wall, and they went out and won the game. So we'll see if they're able to kind of win out. They need to win out, and they also need the Wizards to start losing a couple of games here. So something's got to give. Will the Bulls start losing? Will the Wizards start losing? Who's going to lose first? That's really what it's going to come down to. As soon as the Bulls lose, it's almost game over. And if the Wizards lose, they have a buffer game. If they lose again, they have another buffer game. But now if they start losing 3, they're going to start slipping out of that spot. So well done for the Bulls last night to get the win. Big old convincing win. And we'll see if Zach LaVine and Vucevic can get it together for their last final 5 games. Alrighty, next game up is the Wizards and the Raptors in a close game here. Goes into overtime. Wizards sneak out with the win, 131-129. Close win. But man, oh man, that's what the Wizards do. They win close. Just enough to get it done. So here we go. Russell Westbrook, 13 points, 17 assists, 17 rebounds. The turnovers crept back up, 7 turnovers. He shot 1 of 6 from 3, 26% from the field. A real kind of not great night, but he still gets the triple-double and still able to get the win. Raul Neto still at the 2. Huge game, 25 points, 3 assists, 2 rebounds on 5 of 7 from 3. Very well done. Alex Line at the 5, 10 points, 4 rebounds in only 13 minutes. Anthony Gill in the starting 4, only playing 8 minutes, 0 points on 4 shots. Yikes. But then we get Bradley Beal, 28 points, 5 assists, 5 rebounds, 50% on 22 shots. So well done there by the starters. Raul Neto able to get into the scoring. Fantastic. And then off the bench here, Davis Bertans, 14 points, 5 rebounds. Robin Lopez, a huge game, 24 points, 7 rebounds. So well done there for the starters. Russell Westbrook, a little too many turnovers, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. So we can kind of write it off. So well done, win for the Wizards last night. The Raptors now, Fred VanVleet, Kyle Lowry did not play last night. Truly unfortunate. So Fred VanVleet at the 1, Gary Trent Jr. back in the lineup at the 2, Kem Birch at the 5, Stanley Johnson at the 3, and Siakam at the 4. So Fred VanVleet, 22 points, 5 assists, 6 rebounds. Gary Trent Jr., 25 points, 3 rebounds. Kem Birch, 17 points, 9 rebounds. Great work. Siakam went for 44 points on 60% shooting while getting 11 rebounds, while getting 7 assists. He had the most points, the most rebounds, the most assists in the game, folks, or on the team at least. So well done to Siakam doing his best. And then Stanley Johnson at the 3, 0 points on 2 shots. So well done by all the starters. Unfortunately, the bench couldn't get it done. Malachi Flynn, 4 points on 28% shooting. They definitely needed him to step up. DeAndre Bembry had 10 points. That was great, but then nothing else great off that bench. Rodney Hood only giving us 2 points on 3 shots. Jalen Harris, 2 points on 3 shots. And Freddie Gillespie, 3 points on 4 shots. So just could not get that bench scoring. That's what the Raptors' problem has been all season. The bench is always lackluster, where the bench here for the Wizards give us 24 and 14. I mean, we're getting better contribution here from the bench. So Raptors, almost unfortunate here. They've got a tough schedule. They're 4 games back now. 4 games back from that 10 seed, so it's official. I would say it's official right now. 4 games back with 5 games left. It's official, folks. The Raptors are not going to get in that play-in tournament, and the Bulls, they're definitely going to have a tough chance. They got to win out, like we said, but one slip up of the Bulls, it's over for them. So Wizards just got to keep on winning, and they'll be fine. Alrighty, let's go to the Nets and the Mavericks now, and the Mavericks win, folks. The Mavericks win in another big loss against a good team for this Nets team. Absolutely trash. So the Nets lose 113-109 over the Mavericks. We can start with this Mavericks team first. Once again, no Kristaps Porzingis, and they get the win. I mean, absolutely fantastic here. Another reason why we have to kind of consider Luka Doncic as the MVP. I would say he's got to be number 2 in voting. Has the 5th seed, winning, good stats, facilitating the floor while scoring the ball without really anything great. They've got a decent supporting cast, nothing fantastic. So, Luka Doncic, 24 points, 8 assists, 10 rebounds. Josh Richardson, 10 points. Willie Cauley-Stein at the 5, 6 points, 8 rebounds. Dorian Finney-Smith at the 4, 17 points, 8 rebounds. And then Tim Hardaway Jr. in the starting lineup at the 3, 23 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists. I mean, what a wonderful job here by Tim Hardaway Jr. to come back in the starting lineup and get it done, folks. 6th man of the year, maybe, potentially. We'll have to kind of see how many games he actually came off the bench and how many games he actually started, but well done to step up. 23 points, fantastic work with 6 rebounds. I love it. And then off the bench here for the Mavericks, Dwight Powell, 12 points, 10 rebounds. Jalen Brunson, 15 points, 2 assists, 2 rebounds off the bench. So great night off the bench, good night for all the starters, and Luka Doncic is able to will his team to a win. Now let's go to the Nets now. Why do they keep on losing? Kyrie Irving had 45 points, 4 steals, 4 assists, 5 rebounds, shot 7 of 13. Unfortunately, just couldn't get it done. Unfortunately, not enough. Not able to get others involved. I mean, look at these assists, folks. I mean, as a team, they had 18 assists. 18 assists as a team. The Mavericks had 23 assists. Luka Doncic had 8 assists. Nobody else had even close to 8 assists individually for this Nets team. Kyrie Irving was number 1 with 4 assists. Also, Mike James had 4 assists off the bench, but just nobody able to facilitate the floor like James Harden does. So once again, we can't give the MVP to Chris Paul. I mean, we're seeing better stuff from James Harden and better stuff from Luka Doncic. So I can't give it to Chris Paul, truly. So Kyrie Irving had a good night scoring the ball-wise. Landry Shaman at the 2, 0 points on 5 shots. Yikes, not getting others involved, Kyrie. Blake Griffin starting, I hate it. 10 points, 10 rebounds. He took 4 threes. We can kind of live with 4, like we say. Joe Harris, 9 points, 6 rebounds, a little lackluster game when it's Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant on the floor. Joe Harris can't get those good shots, unfortunately. Kevin Durant at the 5, 20 points, 9 rebounds. This was like the only game he shot poorly, not taking advantage, not stepping up. I mean, how do you lose back-to-back against the Bucks and then still not step up against this game against the Mavericks? Try to reestablish your positioning for that number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference, but they can't do it because Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant are not leaders, folks. They're not number 1 options. They're not number 1s, folks. They are not. Their personalities alone, their leadership abilities alone are not number 1. They're not A1 tier 1. They're not LeBron James. They're not even Luka Doncic. Look what Luka Doncic is doing with this Mavs team. It's absolutely incredible for him only being 22 years old, folks. All right, and then off the bench here, anything great? Nicholas Claxton still only playing 18 minutes. He's got to play a little bit more out there. Bruce Brown, 10 points, 6 rebounds off the bench. Jeff Green, 11 points, 2 rebounds off the bench. Unfortunately, DeAndre Jordan doesn't play. But, I mean, they had no Porzingis, so the fact that they were still getting eaten up down low is just unfortunate for this Nets team. So, Nets lose over the Nets, super duper over the Nets. Alrighty, let's move on to the Grizzlies and the Pistons. And Grizzlies, no, they lose against the Pistons. Come on, what is going on with this Grizzlies team? There is no urgency for this Grizzlies team, folks. There hasn't been all season. They're back to 500. What a shock. The Grizzlies at 500? What? So they're now currently the 9th seed. Warriors have a half a game above them. Grizzlies, man, they are super underwhelming, folks. That's why, we like to cheer for them because we like their roster. I like John Morant. I like really everybody on their starting roster. Valanciunas, Kyle Anderson, Dylan Brooks, Grayson Allen. I'm not the biggest fan of, but he still gets it done decently here. But there's just nothing urgent. They don't win the big games consistently. They don't ever want to win games, rally off of what's their biggest win streak, like 3 games maybe, 3. It's just very lackluster for this Grizzlies team, so can't really see them. Well, let's just put it like this. I mean, real good chance here for the Blazers and the Warriors to get into the actual playoffs, even though they're in the play-in tournament, because they would have to face one of those teams, may have to face the Grizzlies. But this Grizzlies team, man, I would like to see what they could do in the playoffs, but I don't think they can win the play-in tournament, man. Their first game at the season ended today. The Grizzlies 9 seed, Spurs 10 seed. I don't even know if the Grizzlies can beat the Spurs. I think they're a better team, but can they go and show up for a game? I don't know. And then they have to face the loser of the Blazers and the Warriors. I don't think they could step up to beat any of those teams either. So this Grizzlies team, unfortunate, big old loss here. That's not great, especially at the end of the season. I don't know what the hell they were thinking, but how do you lose against this Pistons team? I mean, Jeremy Grant didn't even play, folks. If you're losing to the Pistons without Jeremy Grant, I mean, we cannot buy you at all, folks. So the Pistons, they get the win. Well done by all the starters here. Everybody in double-digit figures scoring the ball. Corey Joseph at the starting point guard position, 18 points, 11 assists. Frank Jackson at the 2, 11 points, 2 assists, 2 rebounds. Isaiah Stewart at the 5, 15 points, 7 rebounds. Sekuo Doumbaya, 14 points, 6 rebounds. And then Sadiq Bey, 13 points, 5 rebounds, still being a little lackluster. Sadiq Bey for the rookie. All right, off the bench, Wayne Ellington, 18 points. Jahlil Okafor, love seeing this, 13 points, 5 rebounds in 17 minutes. So Jahlil Okafor getting a little bit of burn off the bench. We love that. All right, so why did the Grizzlies lose? Well, nobody got it done scoring the ball for the starters. We know Grayson Allen did not play, so Desmond Bane fills in at the 2 for him. But John Morant, 20 points, 5 assists, 3 rebounds. He led the team in scoring. Very well done. But then Desmond Bane, 2 points on 20% shooting. Jonas Valanciunas had a great game, 19 points, 16 rebounds. But then this is where it gets bad, folks. Kyle Anderson, 7 points on 27% shooting on 11 shots. Dylan Brooks, 9 points on 25% shooting on 16 shots. Couldn't get it done. Now, they did get very great contribution from the bench, and this is a little bit of a silver lining for this team going forward. Brandon Clark off the bench, 10.6 rebounds. Jaren Jackson, 17 points, 4 steals, 5 rebounds off the bench. John Concher, 11 points, 5 rebounds. So the bench was able to get it done. John Morant was able to get it done. Jonas Valanciunas was able to get it done. No Grayson Allen, Dylan Brooks, Kyle Anderson, a little bit of an off night. So no, not too much worry for panic, but losing games down the stretch here when really every game is mattering, especially in this playoff tournament. Get your momentum going, because if you're 9-10, it's one and done, folks. If you're 7-8, you get a little, 1 game buffer if you lose. But this Grizzlies team, they need to know what urgency is, winning when it matters, and that's something that this team does not do. Alrighty, another team that loses that probably shouldn't. The Hawks lose to the Pacers last night. The Pacers basically locking in their position here in the play-in tournament. How unfortunate. So let's go over the Pacers quickly. Sabonis still playing the 5, 30 points, 9 assists, 8 rebounds, fantastic. Karis LeVert had a great game, 31 points, 12 assists. Aaron Holiday at the 1, 15 points, 5 assists, 4 rebounds. O'Shea Brissett at the 4, 10 points, 8 rebounds. Doug McDermott still at the 3, 13 points, 2 rebounds. So they all got it done. And then look at this off the bench. Great scoring numbers by everybody in the starting lineup. But then we get TJ McConnell, 19 points, 4 steals, 5 assists, 2 rebounds on 75% shooting off the bench. So absolutely well done here for this Pacers team. We'll see if they can kind of keep it up. Can they do something in the play-in tournament, in the playoffs? I don't think so. But if they can all play like this consistently, they may be able to steal a couple of games in a series if they get there. Alrighty, now let's go to the Hawks now. Trae Young, Bogdanovich, Tony Snell, John Collins, Clint Capella, Danilo Gallinari, Kevin Huerter, Lou Williams off the bench. I mean, this is their team, folks, and they weren't able to get it done last night. So, not the greatest look. Trae Young went for 30 points, 10 assists, fantastic. Bogdanovich, 28 points, 2 rebounds, 6 of 10 from 3, yes sir. Clint Capella, 10 points, 9 rebounds. John Collins, 25 points, 7 rebounds. So that was all good. They just didn't have that bench like the Pacers had last night. I mean, Kevin Huerter only 8 points. Lou Williams 7 points, not getting it done. Danilo Gallinari, he put up 15 points off the bench. That was good. 7 rebounds to go along with that, but not the 30-point performances. Just a little bit better for the Pacers last night. So Hawks lose 126-133 over the Pacers. Now let's go to the Warriors and the Thunder. Warriors getting the nice win here. Let's go over them quickly. Steph Curry, 34 points, 7 assists, 6 of 13 from 3. Andrew Wiggins, 18 points, yes sir. Draymond Green, 5 points, 9 assists, 9 rebounds. Kevon Looney, 2 points but 10 rebounds. That's what we're talking about. Kent Bazemore in place of Kelly Oubre Jr. at the 2, 13 points, 6 rebounds. That's what we're talking about. And then off the bench, what did we get to? Oh my God, Michael Mulder, 25 points. Jordan Poole, 14 points, 3 assists, 4 rebounds. Juan Toscano Anderson, 7 points, 8 assists, 9 rebounds. So absolutely wonderful job here by this Warriors team getting it done. And if Kent Bazemore can put up this kind of production, 13 points on 71% shooting, 6 rebounds, that's all we're looking for. And then we're having Kelly Oubre off the bench. If Michael Mulder can get it done as he's been doing, now we're starting to talk about a dangerous Warriors team once again, and I'm all about that. Now the Thunder, Luguentz Dort, 7 points on 23% shooting. That man does not do anything, folks. He's not that great. Anything else great? Darius Bazley, 22 points. Theo Melendon, 15 points, 8 assists. Ty Jerome off the bench, 23 points, 3 assists, 4 rebounds. We'll take that. But overall, the Thunder, a little lackluster, we know, and they lose by 21. And then the last game of the night, the Clippers and the Lakers, one of our moneymaker picks. Clippers -8. All day we will eat that, and we did. So just no great scores for this Clippers team, or for this Lakers team. For the Clippers, exactly what we wanted to happen. Reggie Jackson stays in the starting lineup. Patrick Beverley stays off the bench. We love that. So, Reggie Jackson, 10 points, 4 rebounds, only 1 assist, so not his best game, but I still like him in the starting lineup. Paul George, 24 points, 5 assists, 7 rebounds, getting it done. Zubac, 14 points, 8 rebounds. Marcus Morris, 10 points, 4 rebounds. Kawhi Leonard, 15 points, 6 assists, 8 rebounds. So starters were all able to get it done. Off the bench, Rondo goes 11 points, 5 assists. DeMarcus Cousins, 11 points, 3 rebounds. Patrick Beverley didn't do the best off the bench, 5 points, 2 assists, his first game back, so we'll see if he kind of gets acclimated to the bench a little bit better. But, you're facing the Lakers, so you don't need to be on point. For the Lakers, anything good? Kyle Kuzma had a pretty good game, 25 points, 4 assists, 5 rebounds. He shot 3 of 10 from 3. Alex Caruso can't do what Dennis Schroeder does, 8.7 assists. KCP, 6 points. Andre Drummond, 9 points, 6 rebounds. Anthony Davis, 4 points, only played 9 minutes. Montrezl Harrell off the bench was the second leading scorer. Another great performance here by Montrezl Harrell, 14 points, 4 assists, 6 rebounds, doing all he can. For this very, very lackluster scoring team. So, trash here by the Lakers. We knew that. They get blown out 118-94. Alrighty, that was all the NBA from last night. Let's head over to what we have on deck today. In the league, we've got Pelicans 76ers. Ooh, boy, Celtics Bulls 7:30 ESPN. A must-win game here for this Bulls team. Going to be an absolute great one. Cannot wait to watch that. Everybody watch the Celtics Bulls team. This Bulls team is do or die, win or die. And if they lose, they will die. And that's nationally televised. Love that. All right, then we get the Magic and the Hornets, Timberwolves and the Heat, Rockets, Bucks, Cavs, Mavs, Nuggets, Jazz, Knicks, Suns, Lakers, Blazers, 10 o'clock on ESPN. That should be a good one as well. And then Spurs, Kings to round out the games for tonight. So a lot of action tonight, a lot of potential, great value to be found. So let's go and find the value for tonight's action. We might go through this one a little quickly, just because I do want to get to these power rankings. We should have time either way, but we'll see how it goes. Alrighty, first game up, Pelicans 76ers. Pelicans +9, 76ers -9. Alrighty. All right, for the Pelicans, Steven Adams is a game-time decision. Josh Hart is still out. Brandon Ingram is out, so definitely got to stay away from this Pelicans team. And then Nickeil Alexander-Walker is a game-time decision, so expect him to get some burn, especially with Brandon Ingram out if he's good to go. And then for the 76ers, just Furkan Korkmaz, folks. So the 76ers want to kind of reclaim this number one seed, want to keep this number one seed in the Eastern Conference. It's not very hard for them. The Nets are 2.5 games back. So the 76ers do have a little bit of a buffer. Without Brandon Ingram, where are the points going to come from? We're going to need Lonzo Ball to score like 30-plus points. And he's been shown us that a couple of times. I think he just did that in their last two games. One of their last two games, he was able to do that. But not having Brandon Ingram, not going to take the Pelicans here. Probably going to stay away from the 76ers as well. -9, just a little bit too much to swallow than what we kind of like to. So we'll stay away from 76ers Pelicans. 76ers should have no trouble winning. Spread a little bit too iffy for us. Alrighty, then we go to the Celtics and the Bulls here. Celtics on the road, Bulls at home. For the Celtics, oh, yes, this is good value now. All right, Tristan Thompson, game-time decision. Jaylen Brown is out. That's huge. Robert Williams, a game-time decision, and Romeo Langford, game-time decision. So that's going to be interesting. Both of their bigs, Tristan Thompson, Robert Woods, game-time decision, especially with Vucevic going against him. Could be a little bit of a nightmare here for the Celtics. Now for the Bulls, everybody's good to go except for Troy Brown. We're going to take the 4 points here for the Bulls. A must-win game for them if they want to try to keep pace to still have a chance. It's not a great look for them to get that number 10 seed for the playing tournament, but they still are mathematically eligible to do so. But they need to win out, and they needed some losses there by the Wizards. But we'll take the 4 here for the Bulls. The Celtics, they're going to have to rely on Kemba Walker and Evan Fournier a lot now. The bench is a little bit lackluster now because of no Jaylen Brown. So now Evan Fournier is going to be definitely starting. The bigs, potential game-time decisions. But Zach LaVine, Vucevic need to get it done. We can count on Thaddeus Young off the bench. Daniel Tice visiting his former team, going to be in the starting lineup. For all those reasons, we got the Bulls. We get them plus points. We get them at home. Absolutely must-win game. We'll take the Bulls plus the points. Yes, sir. Alrighty. For these last 2 games for the Timberwolves, Vegas has kind of caught up with kind of our cash cow a little bit. So Timberwolves +6.5, Heat -6.5. I think that's good value still here for this Timberwolves team. For the Timberwolves, Malik Beasley's out and Jaden McDaniels is out. For the Heat, Victor Oladipo is still out. Tyler Hero, game time decision. Jimmy Butler, game time decision. But we know this Timberwolves team, they keep the games close. Their last 2 games, they lost by 4. They lost by 3. They keep it close, and we get 6.5 here. We'll take that here for the Timberwolves. We'll give this Timberwolves team one last chance. Well, actually, we'll probably write it out for the rest of the season. But this Heat team, a huge game for them to try and get. I mean, the Celtics and the Heat both play tonight. They both have the same record. One's a 6 seed, one's a 7 seed. So a huge game for the Heat, but can they step it up? Can they step it up, especially against this Timberwolves team who, they just want to win and get better for next season. So they are going to go all out. We'll take the Timberwolves plus the 6.5 points here. D'Angelo Russell is now back in the starting lineup. We just saw that in their last game. So let's see if he can kind of rock it up with Karl Anthony Towns and Anthony Edwards. We'll take the 6.5. Alrighty, Rockets and Bucks. Rockets +16.5. Bucks -16.5. We're just going to stay away from this game. It's no point of taking it. Kevin Porter is out. Christian Woods, a game-time decision. Daniel House Jr., game-time decision. Kelly Olynyk, game-time decision. And then for the Bucks, it's just PJ Tucker. Little low, PJ Tucker, game-time decision. So we'll stay away from it. Not going to swallow 16.5. Magic Hornets, 2. All right, well, I don't want to call them bad teams. This Hornets team is not bad. But Magic +7.5, Hornets -7.5. Hornets, pretty much locked into a playing tournament spot, having 5 games above the Bulls with 5 games left. So, they're pretty much locked in. Miles Bridges is out. Devontae Graham is out. Cody Martin's out. So their scoring's going to be a little lackluster again. So we got to just stay away from this one. Cavs, Mavs now. Cavs plus 10, Mavs minus 10. Gonna stay away from this one. Mavericks minus 10. They should win, and I'm not gonna swallow 10 points on them, really. Nuggets, Jazz. Nuggets plus 4, Jazz minus 4. All right, now this one's I kind of like now. All right, let's talk about the injuries. For the Nuggets, Will Barton is out, Monte Morris is out, PJ Dozier is out, and Zeke Naji is a game-time decision. And then for the Jazz, still Mike Conley out, still Donovan Mitchell out. So going to be an absolutely big game here for the Jazz and the Nuggets. I'm going to take the Nuggets plus 4 because they are the number 1 team in our power rankings. We're going to update that in a second. Spoiler alert, they are still number 1. But, we're going to just trust this Nuggets team, trust that they can beat this Jazz team. A huge game here for the Jazz. Can Jordan Clarkson get it done off the bench still? Can Joe Ingles kind of suffice as the starting point guard here? So we'll take the Nuggets here plus the points. Going to be an absolutely great game here. 2 of the top teams in the Western Conference going at it at the end of the season. Let's see where all these teams truly are. So we'll have the Nuggets at Nuggets plus 4. All right, Knicks, Suns. Ooh, didn't the Knicks just beat the Suns a couple of days ago? No, they lost. They lost by 8 on the 26th of April. But here we go. Knicks plus 6.5. Suns minus 6.5. For the Suns, Mitchell Robinson is out. For the Knicks, Mitchell Robinson is out. For the Suns, Jay Crowder is still out. And then Cameron Johnson is a game-time decision. So we're going to stay away from this game just because of how close the Knicks keep it. And the Suns coming off of a very frustrating loss. Maybe takes it out on the Knicks. So maybe not the greatest value here. We'll stay away from it. Then we get the Lakers and the Blazers. Lakers plus 8.5. Blazers minus 8.5. And we will take this Blazers team minus 8.5. We've got no problem with this, folks. Just like the Clippers last night, this Lakers team cannot keep up pace. Anthony Davis may not even play this game either, because he only played 9 minutes last night. So Dennis Schroeder is still out. LeBron is still out. Talen Horton-Tucker's out. And Anthony Davis is a game-time decision. For the Blazers, everybody's good to go besides Norman Powell. He's a game-time decision. But CJ McCollum and, Damian Lillard are going to be able to get it done here. Blazers minus 8.5. Yes, sir. We just took the Clippers minus 8.5 last night. I've got no problems with it. This Lakers team is underwhelming offensively. When will y'all learn? And then the last game of the night, we're going to stay away from it. Spurs, Kings. Spurs minus 4.5, Kings plus 4.5. A huge game here for both of these teams. If the Kings can get the win, it's absolutely great. They may be able to leapfrog the Pelicans if they lose tonight, and then they'll be able to kind of close the gap to about only a 1-game difference potentially. That's pretty good. Like a 1.5 game back. They're a game and a half back. You get the win. Head up. That's like a game back. So a huge game here tonight for the Kings. Actually, we are going to take them plus 4.5. Is De'Aaron Fox still out? Because that's actually good for this team for some reason. I don't know why they keep winning without De'Aaron Fox. But he's a game-time decision, so hopefully he doesn't play. Harrison Barnes also is a game-time decision. For the Spurs, Trey Lyles is out, and Derek White is out for the season. So we're going to take the 4 points here for the Kings. Must-win game for them if they want a chance. This is it, folks. This is it. If they win, they can try to get in. If they lose, it's basically a wrap, a sealed fate for this Kings team. So they've been making it work, folks. This Kings team, they're on a 4-game winning streak, 7-3 in their last 10. Let's start respecting them. We'll take the points here in a must-win game. So we got the Bulls plus 4, Kings plus 4 because it must-win games here. Timberwolves plus 6.5, Nuggets plus 4, and Blazers minus 8.5 here. Moneymaker extravaganza because we got 5 picks here, and we're feeling real good about them all, folks, truly. I always believe in this Timberwolves team, you know. We love the Nuggets. Blazers against the Lakers, that's easy money. And then the Bulls and the Kings were just kind of, this is a must-win game for them, folks. So if they don't win this game, you know what I mean? Like, why? This is it. This should be their full power. Plus, we're getting points. We got to take that when we get it. So, that's what we got for our Moneymaker tonight. Alrighty, let's head over to our NBA Power Rankings. We'll update this. I mean, folks, we've only got kind of 2 more updates till the end of the regular season. We've got this week, this Friday. Then, the regular season ends next Sunday, the 16th. So we're not sure if we're going to do the final rankings on that Monday, that following Monday, or maybe we do one next Friday, and then we'll just kind of set the narrative like, hey, these teams can move up in the final 2 days of games. Let's see, and then we'll update it again on Monday. But 2 more final kind of updates here. And so let's get into this one coming today. So this was the top 10 coming into this week. We had the Celtics at 10, Bucks at 9, Wizards at 8, Jazz at 7, Nets at 6, 76ers at 5, Knicks at 4, Clippers at 3, Suns at 2, and the Nuggets at 1. Alrighty, we also had the Timberwolves team at number 11 because we don't do 11 teams in our power rankings, but we wanted to shout out a team that was kind of giving it their all at the back end. The Timberwolves, they have no chance to kind of get into the playoffs, so we couldn't put them in the top 10 last week, but we wanted to kind of honor them of the great work they've been doing once they're all healthy in the back half of the season, so we put them at number 11. But we are going to have a new number 11. We're going to do the same exact thing, but with a new team here at number 11. Shout them out a little bit. We just kind of talked about it in our Moneymaker about a huge must-win game for this team, so that's who we're going to put at number 11 in just a second. But for the top 10 here, we've got 2 new teams coming in, so 2 teams will be out. Real kind of jumble up here. We saw a lot of great wins for some teams, so they're going to get elevated a lot, and then some, just lackluster wins makes some other teams drop here. So before we get into the rankings, let's tell you why we're kicking out these teams that we are kicking out. We are kicking out the Celtics, the number 10 seed. I mean, just this last week, they went 1-1. They beat the Magic, lost to the Blazers, just nothing great, nothing concrete. Jaylen Brown's in and out of the starting lineup here for the last couple of games here. So Celtics, they haven't got those good wins, and other teams have been getting it done this week. So we do have to move the Celtics out. And then the other team, the last team we are going to move out, is the Nets, folks. I'm over them. What the hell was it this week? 4-game losing streak. You faced the Bucks twice and lose? Steve Nash, you couldn't even figure out a way to stop the beef for 1 game? Just give us 1 game of you locking up Giannis, but they couldn't do that. And then they have to go and face the Mavericks last night, and they lose. What the hell is that? That should have been a game where everybody's on their A game. You just got bitched by the number 3 seed in the Eastern Conference, and then you go against the Mavericks with no Porzingis, so there's no trouble down low, and you still lose 1,000% over this Nets team. If you're not winning or being very competitive, and I guess they were decently competitive, but 4 losses, I can't even take it as being competitive. If you're losing against the best competition at the end of the season, folks, I don't know what to tell you. That's not a good team to me. So if you want them to have them in your top 10, but this Nets team will not be in the top 10 tonight. I'm super over this team. And I'm kind of glad. This Nets team is floundering a little bit. So, they're just not, instant, winners like we all predicted them to be this season. They are, losing and, missing James Harden and, struggling against the Bucks. So that's a little bit of a silver lining of the collective season as a whole, because going into the season everyone's like, oh, the Nets are instant champions, they're going to run through the competition. So they're not doing that, so that's good. But Nets out of the top 10. Alrighty, so let's get to the reordering here of the power rankings. Let's start at the bonus 11 seed here. Gonna take the Timberwolves off. Losing their last 2 games, not the greatest. But we got to give it up for this 11 seed. A huge game tonight, and I'm gonna give it up for the Kings, man. Yes, sir. Kings are the new 11 seed here in our power rankings. They're winning without De'Aaron Fox, which I don't know why that's happening, but it is happening. They are facing the Spurs tonight. A must-win game for them, folks. They can be only a game back from that 10 seed, leapfrog the Pelicans also potentially if the Pelicans lose tonight. So huge game here for the Kings. We're going to shout them out at this number 11 seed. And folks, did you know they're 7-3 in their last 10? Making moves, real G's, moving silence like lasagna. And that's exactly what the Kings are doing. So we're going to give the Kings a nice little shout out spot here at the number 11 seed. Don't make us look like clowns by losing tonight against the Spurs. We just took you plus 4.5 points. We're making you number 11. We're seeing you out there, but just because we see you now, don't flounder. So Kings at number 11. Go and get it done. Go get that playing tournament spot. I would love to see what the Kings could do. I mean, they got nice outside shooting. That's all they do. They just put up the points, folks. So let's see what they can do if they can get in the playing tournament. But it all starts tonight. Well, it's been starting for the last 10 games, 7-3 in their last 10. But huge game tonight against the Spurs. Get it done, Kings. Alrighty, new number 10 seed. Like we said, the Celtics are out, and I got to give it up for the Hawks, man. What a week for them. Alrighty, this week they beat the Bulls, the Blazers, and the Suns, and then unfortunately lost to the Pacers last night. Just truly unfortunate there. But, beating the Blazers, a great win. They're just trying to kind of keep pace in the top 6 in the West, so great game there, great win there. Winning against the Bulls, once again, kind of a do-or-die mentality for this Bulls team, trying to get in the playing tournament, so that's still a good win, folks. And then the Suns, yes, sir, taking advantage of their lackluster shooting performance, and the Hawks were shooting lights out in that game. So the bench of the Hawks have really been getting it done here. Danilo Gallinari, Lou Williams, yes sir. Bogdanovich is getting it done as the number 2, and then we can always rely on Clint Capella and Trae Young, absolutely. So the supporting cast of the Hawks here are getting it right at the back half of the season. That's what the Hawks team needs. That's what they're getting. Great week, and we move them up to number 10. Love it. Alrighty, new number 10 seed. We got to move this team back a tad. So the Wizards dropped from number 8 to number 9 here in our power rankings. In the last week, they went 2-2. They beat the Pacers and the Raptors. Great Raptors win last night. I mean, Raptors and, trying to get in that playoff tournament, trying to take that Wizards number 10 seed, but the Wizards said, we're defending it. So great win there. Fantastic. But then they lose to the Mavs and the Bucks. Both those games were close. I think the Mavs game was like a 2-point loss. The Bucks game was like a 1-point loss. So this Wizards team is ready to compete with the big teams, but are they ready to kind of start winning those games? Yes, they're competitive. That's why we're still keeping them in the top 10, but we do have to drop them back a little bit because they lost to the Bucks and the Mavericks. And folks, we haven't talked about the Mavericks yet in the top 10, but we got to move them back. Do you know what's coming up next? Folks? So we do have to move the Wizards back a little bit, but they're still fighting. They're still in the playing tournament. Russell Westbrook going 1,000,000% every single game. We respect the hell out of folks. I can't even express how much I respect Russell Wilson as a player, folks. I can't. There's not enough words. I try to do it every day, but there's not enough words of how much I respect what he's doing. So Wizards at number 9, getting it done. The bench, Davis Bertans being more reliable, being reliable scoring wise, and just being out there on the floor. He went through this little stretch where he was kind of out for a couple of games. But the bench is getting it done. Who's their number 2 that's really filling in fantastically ever since they moved Bradley Beal to the 3? And who's at the 2 now? I'm blanking on the name. Oh, yeah, Raul Neto. He's been really getting it done. Just 25 points last night. Fantastic. So the scoring is there. It's not just Russell Westbrook and Bradley Beal carrying the show anymore. The bench is starting to get it done. And Raul Neto at the 2 is really kind of changing the game a little bit for this team. So well done for the Wizards. Still competitive, which we love. Just got to move them back 1 seed. All right, new number 8 seed here, and kind of why we have to move the Wizards back 1 seed is the Mavericks. They are the second team newly introduced this week in the top 10. Fantastic what they've been doing. Folks, we have to start looking at Luka Doncic as an MVP candidate, folks, truly. It really should just be between Luka Doncic and Jokic, folks. I'm not going to go through the same spiel. We just did it today on the show, so I'm making a video of it, so it will be up there. So if you're watching this a little bit later, not live, and you're like, oh, what's the reasoning that he takes Jokic and Doncic over Chris Paul and all those other MVPs? We got the video. Just look it up on our channel. It's going to be there. But the Mavericks at number 8 here. Absolutely fantastic. Last week they beat the Wizards and the Heat. Wizards trying to shore up their playoff positioning. Heat trying to shore up their playoff positioning. So are the Mavericks, and they're beating the other teams that are trying to do the same thing. So that's fantastic. They did end up losing against the Knicks or the Kings though. But the Kings though, I mean, they're kind of a fluky team right now. So we're not going to count that loss too much against this Mavs team. They're winning without Porzingis. It's just Luka Doncic out there by his lonesome trying to do triple triple-doubles of like what Russell Westbrook does. So the Mavericks here, absolutely well done. They're the 5th seed in the Western Conference now. Give this team some respect. Absolutely. They are taking their chances. They saw the Blazers hit some turmoil. They saw the Lakers hit some turmoil after everybody got, injured. And the Mavericks, sitting at the 9th seed, sitting at the 10th seed, sitting at the 8th seed all season, they finally made their run in the back half of the season, 8-2 in their last 10. Respect the hell out of what Luka Doncic is kind of doing by himself. He doesn't get along with Porzingis. Porzingis is in and out of the lineup, can't stay healthy. And Luka Doncic is just like, you know what? I'll just do it myself then. Fuck it, I'll do it myself. And that's exactly what he's been doing. So, huge shout out to this Mavs team. And we shout them out by putting them in the top 10 at number 8. Alrighty, new number 7 team. This team dropping a little bit, not so much on what they've done themselves, but what other teams are doing. So we got to move the Knicks from number 4 to number 7 here this week. Truly unfortunate for them. All right, they're weak. They beat the Rockets and the Grizzlies, and then lost to the Nuggets. So, a double-digit loss to the Nuggets, not maybe ready to compete against that. They lost against the Suns a couple of weeks ago, so not ready quite there to compete with the top-tier teams, like the top 2 in the Eastern Conference. Everybody else the Knicks can kind of keep up pace with, but those top elite teams, not right there yet. So we moved the Knicks back a little bit. Julius Randle still getting it done. RJ Barrett still getting it done. Absolutely fantastic. Derrick Rose has been going manic these last couple of games, putting him like 20-plus points off the bench. Go get it done. Yes, sir. Emmanuel Quickly still little hit and miss on his production off the bench, but overall, this Knicks team is still good, and they still kind of, like we said, if it's not those 2 kind of top 4 teams in the league, they will go and compete with the best of them. We got no problems there, but until they start to get a little bit closer wins, they face the Suns tonight, so they have a chance to try to kind of, improve their ranking a little bit. Let's start to be a little bit more competitive, not kind of 8 or double-digit point losses. Let's try to win, obviously, or just try to lose by like 2 to 5 points. That's going to be a close loss against those good teams. So just until they start beating the good teams, the best teams, we should say, the elite teams, we got to keep them at number 7 for a little bit. So Knicks at number 7. Alrighty, new number 6 team. Obviously, no longer the Nets. Get them out of here, please. Jeez. All right, new number 6 team. A little unfortunate here, but once again, other teams getting it truly done. So we got to move the Suns down a little bit from the 2 seed down to the 6 seed. So, all right, the Suns this week, they beat the Thunder and the Cavs, but then they lose to the Hawks, man. The Hawks, and, a little unfortunate. We're a little concerned on this Suns team just of the offensive production. We see this bench struggle really bad in, some games here. It's just like nothing great off the bench. Yes, Devin Booker is going to go for 30, but then nobody else gives us points. Chris Paul doesn't give us points some games. That's why they lost to the Hawks by like 30 points, because nobody could keep up scoring production besides Devin Booker. DeAndre Ayton not putting up 10 points. Chris Paul not putting up 10 points. Dario Saric, Cameron Johnson, Cameron Payne not getting it done off the bench. So the Suns go through some games where it's just Devin Booker, and for that really scares us, and we just saw it against the Hawks. I know the Hawks are trying to shore up their playoff positioning, but the Suns, they're trying to be number 1 here. There's no time to lose here for the Suns. It's in the back half of the season, and you need to start staying on winning games, especially if they want to be that number 1 seed. Chris Paul needs home court advantage, folks. He's never been able to get it done on the road in the playoffs consistently. If he's home with Devin Booker, that's Chris Paul's best chance at winning a ring. So that loss against the Hawks really left the bad taste in our mouth. And then, all right, you beat the Thunder and the Cavs. Folks, they can't even get into the playoffs, so they're actually absolutely playing for nothing now. So huge loss here against the Hawks. And folks, we're at the back half of the season, the final 5, 6, 7 games for these teams. We can't be kind of, writing off, bad losses. We need to see what these losses are. If you're not cleaning it up, if you're not being 100% at the end of the season, because we are seeing teams be 100% at the end of the season. So I can't kind of forgive these games. And that game against the Hawks where they lost by 30 points, nobody else was scoring the ball besides Devin Booker. I can't look past that, because that's something that's a reoccurrence that we've been seeing throughout the entire season of the Suns team. So Suns have to drop down a little bit to number 6. All right, new number 5 team here. This team got moved up this week. So shout out to this team, the Jazz. We moved them up to number 5. They've been getting it done. No Donovan Mitchell, and they're still winning pretty consistently here. In the last week, they beat the Raptors and the Spurs twice. And now, these may not seem like good wins, but folks, these teams are fighting for a play-in tournament spot. They're playing for something, folks, especially that Spurs team who is currently at number 10 and then get rocked by the Jazz twice in a row. They beat the Raptors, who are trying to get in the play-in tournament. They're kind of playing tournament unfortunately ended yesterday because they lost to the Wizards last night. But not winning against that Jazz team, Jazz beating them, the Raptors not able to kind of build their winning confidence, and now they lose against the Wizards last night. So do we say the Jazz kind of single-handedly ruined the Raptors season? I wouldn't go that far, but little edge there to the Jazz. So, like we said, no Donovan Mitchell. They're still winning. Jordan Clarkson off the bench, giving us 19 points now. Fantastic. Joe Ingles getting it done at the 1. They still got Bogdanovich. He's been stepping. Folks, these Bogdanovich people, where do they come from? They are just putting up 25 points every single night consistently for the Hawks, for the Jazz. So, shout out to them. Shout out to the Bogdanovich. I know they're not brothers. They may be brothers. I don't think they are. But the mothers, like Tobias Harris and... who's the other Harris that we like? Tobias Harris. Joe Harris, yes. Tobias Harris, Joe Harris, all get it done. The Harris brothers, the Bogdan brothers, the Bogdanovich brothers, get it done. So, Jazz still winning. They're the number 1 seed still in the Western Conference. They're beating solid competition here at the back half of the season, but they're still looking good without their main man, Donovan Mitchell. So, we give them credit at the number 5 seed. Alrighty, new number 4 seed. This team's coming down just a tad, not because of what they've done, but because of what others have done. But we moved the Clippers down to the number 4 seed here. So the Clippers this last week, they beat the Raptors and the Lakers, but then they lost to that Nuggets team, man. That Nuggets team got to start beating. Folks, we have the number 1 seed as the Nuggets coming into this week, and the Clippers still can't beat them without Jamal Murray. Another reason Jokic needs to be MVP. The Nuggets are continuing on to beat the best teams in this league without Jamal Murray because Jokic is getting it done. Yes, Michael Porter Jr. is great. Yes, Facundo Campazzo is really kind of being great here to step up into Jamal Murray's place, but at the end of the day, Jokic is having 26 points a game, 11 rebounds, and 8 assists. He's facilitating the floor while getting the offensive production done. So that's enough of Jokic for the second. Let's get back to this Clippers team. But yeah, this Clippers team is getting it done. Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, Patrick Beverley. Folks, I can't believe I forget their names every single time. Patrick Beverley and Reggie Jackson. Yeah, I'm glad that Reggie Jackson's still in the starting lineup. Patrick Beverley's back healthy. If he comes off the bench, I think that's great for him. We get better offensive production by... I just forgot the name again, folks. It's truly bad out here. Reggie Jackson. He's got great offensive production. Patrick Beverley, a little bit of a better defender out there coming off the bench. I think that's great there. So this Clippers team is still good. Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, they've been getting... And folks, Paul George, just by himself. I mean, Kawhi Leonard just came back from that injury, missed a couple of games, but Paul George truly getting it done by himself. So it's really going to come down to Paul George in the playoffs. Can he sustain this level of play that we've been seeing these last 2-3 weeks? Just, 25, 30 points a game, efficient as all heck, translating the wins by himself on the floor. So we've got to give this Clippers team credit. Just unfortunately, other teams played a little bit better than them this week. So we do have to move the Clippers back a little bit here, one spot. Alrighty, new number 3 team here is the 76ers. Yes, sir. Undefeated this week. Looking real good. Beat the Spurs, the Bulls, the Rockets. Once again, the Spurs, the Bulls. Play-in tournament teams trying to get it done. 76ers, the Bulls team, the Spurs team, nothing to lose, going balls to the wall, and the 76ers still get the win. So that's still good there. Trying to just kind of shore up that number 1 seed in the Western Conference. They got the nice 2.5 game lead over that, so they're looking real good at that. Let's see if they can close out their last 5-6 games. They beat the Rockets. That's an easy one right there. That's just a garbage team. So, but yeah, the 76ers team, when they're fully healthy, folks, I think this is one of the best rosters in the league of just Tobias Harris, Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid, obviously, Danny Green, Seth Curry, that's their starting lineup. And then their bench, Dwight Howard, so great production. And he kind of gets slept on in the sixth man of the year argument, honestly. I would probably put his name in top 3, honestly. He's getting great rebounding production down there. Shake Milton scoring the ball down low, fantastic. So they've got real great depth off the bench. Their starting rosters is one of the best in the league. So they're winning games at the end of the season. They have a really kind of easy schedule, I believe, remaining for their last couple of games here, but I'm not gonna penalize them for winning games that they should win at the end of the season. So we move the 76ers up to number 3. Alrighty, new number 2 team, and what an impressive week for them. The Bucks, folks. They were number 9 coming into this week. We got to jump them up all the way to number 2. You beat the freaking Nets twice back-to-back. No problem. Yes, sir. Giannis absolutely went manic. Giannis stepped it up. He was like, you know what? I'm sick of, y'all not stepping it up in the playoffs. I'm going to go 1,000%, and I'm going to control my own destiny out here. So we really have to start looking at this Bucks team as legitimate title contenders. I know I've been writing off the Bucks as like title contenders this season just because of the last couple of seasons, what they've been doing, floundering in the playoffs. But man, oh man, Giannis getting it done kind of single-handedly. Drew Holiday's fantastic as the number 1. Chris Middleton's been stepping it up as well. They still got Brook Lopez at the 5, so there's just too much beef down low for this Bucks team, and we saw it just absolutely kill the Nets. So shout out to this Bucks team getting right, beating the best competition here at the back half of the season. There's nothing better than we can get beyond that. So they beat the Nets twice, and then they go and beat the Wizards, that hungry Wizards team that's trying to secure their playoff spot. And the Bucks say, you're not going to beat us. I know it was close, but that's a game that the Bucks just came off facing one of the best teams in the league in the Nets, or theoretically on paper, one of the best teams in the league. So well done for this Bucks team. Absolutely fantastic. And we got to count. I'm taking this Bucks team truly seriously now. I think this Bucks team is dangerous. This is the time that they're dangerous now. So watch out for them. I would not want to play this Bucks team in the playoffs. Giannis is hungry. He looks angry. He's playing absolutely aggressive. He put up like 40 points each game in that Nets series. So Bucks at number 2. Well done, Giannis. Go get it done, sir. And then the number 1 team, I'm keeping the Nuggets, folks. Yes, sir. What a great week for them. They beat the Clippers. They beat the Knicks. They did lose against the Lakers, but we're going to kind of write out that loss just a little bit, just kind of like we, wrote off the Kings loss against the Mavs. The winning against the Clippers outweighs whatever you just lost to, honestly. So, well done for the Nuggets. Jokic still getting it done. Michael Porter Jr. stepping up his offensive production ever since Jamal Murray went out. And, folks, we're like 10 games removed from Jamal Murray going down. And Michael Porter Jr. is still getting it done. It wasn't like a 1-game fluke, a 2-game fluke, a 5-game fluke, a 7-game fluke. He's doing it 10 straight games, 25-plus points, and he will be the leading scorer if he needs to get it done. Aaron Gordon getting it done defensively, still not taking a lot of shots. And can we talk about mother-loving Facundo Campazzo? What an absolute stud, folks, to step in. Yes, he's not giving us 1,000% of Jamal Murray's production, but he's giving us like 80, 75, 80, 85% of Jamal Murray's production. The points, the facilitating the floor, the rebounds, everything, the great efficiency, not trying to do too much, just being the game manager. So I give Facundo Campazzo so much freaking credit here for this Nuggets wins, their success. Got to give so much credit to Facundo Campazzo. And then off the bench, Austin Rivers starting to maybe break out a little bit. We just saw him with a 25-point game, so let's see, if he can get it. He started on a 10-day contract. They signed him for the rest of the season, and now we're talking about, a little bit of a deeper bench here for the Nuggets. Monte Morris has been out. That was kind of their starting point guard. So, honestly, Facundo Campazzo was kind of their third option at point guard, and he's still stepping it up. Fantastic. So, Nuggets winning without their best player, or one of their best players. Jamal Murray was solid for this team. I don't care what anybody says. Absolutely magnificent for this team. But they're still winning. Jokic is still getting great production. The bench is starting to step it up. Folks, they've lost 2 games without Jamal Murray. I cannot express on how great that is. So, Nuggets stay at number 1. They just beat the Clippers. They just beat the Knicks. Great teams in this league. So, we give the Nuggets so much credit for that. We'll keep them at number 1 for another week. So, that is our power rankings going into basically the final week, folks. Next Sunday is when the season ends, the regular season ends. So 5-6 games for everybody left. Final week of power rankings coming up. This is how we see the league. Hawks at 10, Wizards at 9, Mavs at 8, Knicks at 7, Suns at 6, Jazz at 5, Clippers at 4, 76ers at 3, Bucks at 2, and the Nuggets still the number 1 team for another week, folks. And let's also shout out the Kings at number 11. Let's see if they can kind of get in that playing tournament. They've worked very hard these last 2 weeks, 7-3 in their last 10, in a huge game tonight. So Kings at number 11. Well done. Alrighty, that is going to do it for us today, folks. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. Anything breaking while we were live? Our camera died a couple of minutes ago, unfortunately. So you can't see our face. You can't see our reaction. You can hear our reaction. Ah, whoa, woo. Can't see our face, though. Darn. Alrighty. Well, it doesn't seem like anything is breaking today as we were live, so that's always good. So we'll be back tomorrow live breaking down the NBA, folks. Still great games, folks. The last 2 weeks, the last week of games in the NBA is basically the start of the NBA season, honestly. I mean, going 72 games, mediocre seasons for everybody else, blah, blah, blah. No great game or no great teams. Half the teams are good, half the teams are trash. So the regular season, a little underwhelming, but now we're in playoff mode. Everybody trying to shore up their playoff positioning. I mean, we've still got the Kings in contention, the Bulls and the Wizards for number 10, the Celtics and Heat, who gets into the play-in tournament, who gets into the playoffs, the Knicks and the Hawks, who's going to have home court advantage for their playoff series. Can the Bucks get the number 2 seed over the Nets? I truly hope so. Can the Suns get the number 1 seed? Can the Lakers stay out of the play-in tournament? Can the Blazers stay out of the play-in tournament? Can the Mavericks stay out of the play-in tournament? Can the Kings, can the Pelicans get into the play-in tournament? So a lot of narratives, a lot of things can happen. Standings can still shake up in the final week of games, and it's just getting started, folks. So it starts tonight, folks. Great action tonight, great games on tonight. So we'll break them all tomorrow live on the show. So we'll be back tomorrow also grading NFC team draft prospects. Also, we'll continue that tomorrow. But I had to, take a day off because we have to get these power rankings in. So that's what we've got today, folks. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching, and we're back tomorrow.